During this Connected Investor Success Short, you'll hear 3 real estate investing pros explain exactly how to implement the strategies that made them millionaires. Brought to you by PrivateLenders.com, where real estate investors go to get private funding for all of their real estate investments. Make sure to check out the links in the description of this video for full lessons and free giveaways. Let's get started. All right, Ron, we're going to jump into the exactly how portion of this. Before we started, we broke this down into 5 steps. If you can just outline those 5 steps, and then let's start with step number 1.
Well, the first step is locating prospects, as it is in any business, because frankly, if we don't do that, we don't need to worry about the other 4 steps because we have no business, regardless of what product or service you sell. You first got to locate people that have interest in it. The first step is locating these prospects. That's just one way. I've got a whole bunch of ways to get into those prospects, but that's the simplest one, and one most people start with because they don't have to do the work. Just make a few phone calls a week. Now we get to the house, we get a contract. Well, we've already located and we've already pre-screened the prospect by making that one phone call. So now we got to get to the house. Now here's the key before we talk about that. I ask the seller questions. The seller answers my questions, and the seller is making me an offer. We don't make offers. We ask questions. The sellers make us an offer. And the 4th step is to follow up, and that is getting the contract signed. And of course, the 5th step is getting it closed quickly. So those are the 5 steps. It's all systemized. So I got to make a phone call and I got to make a visit, and I'm done with the buying part of the house. The rest is done by my attorney. Send the documents to them and they do the rest.
Yeah. Well, Ron, let me ask you a question. What do you think your life would be like if your washing machine never stopped working and you never found real estate?
How many times do you think I've asked myself that question? In fact, 1982, when I went to my first seminar, I had to make a decision as to whether to miss my hero, J.R. Ewing, on Dallas or not. Now, I know you don't remember that show. You were just born, but J.R. was my hero.
Oh, yeah.
The missing was a big deal. And how many times do you think I've asked myself, what if I had watched J.R. that night? I mean, hundreds of thousands of lives would have been affected, if not millions by now. Because like you said, I've trained the people who train the people. So obviously the same thing has taken effect with my students. My students begat students who begat students who begat students. I've been around so long they call me Moses. It's never been easier to make money in real estate than it is right now. And I've been through 5 or 6 different cycles, and including the '08 cycle, which created havoc for a lot of people in this country, but didn't take us out. So here we are in a great market and great times, but still buying houses to this very day.
The Connected Investors app connects you with investors, notifies you of available properties, helps locate cash buyers, and secure private funding to close deals. Set up in seconds to become a member of the Connected Investors social network. Now you can scroll through your main feed to find cash buyers, see investment properties not available to the general public, and network with investors by adding your own comments to a thread to keep the conversation going. The Control Center is your connection to add properties to sell, start new discussions, connect with local investors, and even find private funding. The Notifications tab will keep you alerted to new investment properties and offers. You'll also find new friend requests to connect directly with the community to build your network. From the property marketplace, you'll be able to find, favorite, and make offers on investment properties. Download Connected Investors today to find, figure, fund, and flip investment properties on the go.
Prior to the call, Kito and I were talking, and he broke it down into asking yourself these 3 questions. Your time, your money, and your credit is kind of where you start, Kito, to figure out where someone needs to be. Yes. So let's go ahead and just step number 1, your time.
Right. Awesome. So how much time do you have? How much free time do you have available to invest in your new real estate investing business? Is it 2 hours in the evening? Is it 1 hour every Thursday?
Let's talk about the money aspect now, because you break down time, money, and credit. So talk me through the money.
Yeah. So again, how much money, how much discretionary funds do you have available at the end of the week or 2 weeks or whatever your pay period is? How much cash can you set aside that's not allocated somewhere else that you can use to invest in your business?
Let's go ahead and talk about the credit aspect.
Sure thing. So credit is important, and I know we've been told, and it's true, that you can be a real estate investor with none of your own money, none of your own credit, and that's great. That's absolutely true, but that doesn't have to be, and nor do I believe it should be, your end goal. Again, there's no right or wrong answer to any of these time, money, credit questions, but being clear on your own personal answer is going to make all the difference. And what I discovered just over the last few years, I wrote the book last year, but what I discovered was a theme. There were a whole lot of folks that came through my systems or came to my events, and at the end of the day or at the end of the seminar, they'd say, I want to be an investor. And I'd say, okay, well, what type of investor? And, you know, they'd say, well, I want to be a fix and flipper. Or next week, the same person would come back, and next week it's a different strategy. And next week they come back. And I found that people were just all over the place. Those that got the YouTube education, and even those who paid thousands and thousands of dollars for education. And I'm all for both. But at the end of the day, if you can't clearly articulate what strategy makes sense based on your current situation today, that means you have to stay there. But today, what strategy makes sense? And if you can't articulate that, you're starting way behind, you know, and
During this episode, you're going to discover how to analyze deals, all the due diligence, and we're going to give you a market update for 2020.
So let's go through 5 basic steps that you need in real estate due diligence. 1, title search. Title search is needed, and that's what my company does, is needed to pull up any liens, any mortgages, any taxes, any bankruptcy issues, or whether or not the borrower is in bankruptcy, the property is stuck in bankruptcy. Number 2, title exam. So what is the title exam? Title exam is really going page by page for every copy that we provide for you. Copies of the liens, copies of the mortgages, copies of the assignments, chain of title. So why do you need that? Well, if you don't have the right things as a part of, let's say you're buying a mortgage, if you don't have a legal description as a part of the mortgage is not enforceable. If one of the borrowers didn't sign the mortgage is not enforceable. In other words, you cannot foreclose on the property. Okay. I'll skip to number 5 on my list, right? So there are some things that you should be aware that when you buy the property at the foreclosure sale, either HOA or mortgage foreclosure sale, they stick to the property, you have to pay it off. And those are, we call it unrecorded liens. So there are liens at the township level, which are not recorded at the county, which is covered by title search. Water and sewer balance, right? In city of Philadelphia, water, sewer, and gas balances from the prior owner attached to the property and has to be paid off by a new owner. 50% of the United States have similar legal structure where the balance, not the lien, the balance which is kept at the township or at the local municipality serving the water, serving the sewer, garbage pickups, those unrecorded balances can stick to the property.
You haven't really talked about a recession on normal houses. You're just saying a lot of commercial buildings and commercial notes are going to cause a problem in some of these secondary markets.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a chain effect, right? So let's say that GameStop is closing 200 stores. Therefore, there will not be a payments on the commercial debts, liabilities. The folks will be laid off. It's a bad example because it's not enough people to cause any effect.
Yeah.
But certainly, yeah, with the commercial debt on some of the large corporations like GE, you'll see a lot of layoffs, and therefore it'll trickle down to the residential market, and in some way, probably, geographically related more than just global in the U.S.
All right. So just to sum that up, the commercial buildings, they're not going to be paying. The banks are going to be in trouble. The commercial buildings lay off employees, people who don't have jobs, they can't make their mortgage payment. There's kind of the ripple effect. So it seems like the important metric to kind of watch there is employment. But this is a very transitional time in the market, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. It creates a lot of opportunities in my mind. And, one would say, Alex, well, how do you know that that's going to happen? I can tell you one thing, that most of my clients that are multi-billion-dollar clients, funds, they have something called opportunity funds. Opportunity fund is is a fund which allows the investors to put some money aside for a market crash or market recession. And those funds are filling up so fast that it tells me that some of the bigger players in the market are getting ready for a recession and to buy cheap real estate assets, either companies, corporate debt, or anything that we'll see happen during the tough times.
You can also throw your name into a drawing to win our $3,000 software called PIN that pinpoints all of the best deals in any market and all of the most active buyers and private lenders as well. So it's the one piece of software you need to find any type of deal, whether it's an apartment complex or a single family house. If you're looking for it, it's inside PIN, and we're going to give it to one of our lucky listeners who visit exactlyhow.com. If you're watching this live, go ahead and go there right now. We haven't picked the name yet. Throw your name into the hat and you might be walking away with this software.